Hey, what's up everyone? This is Ten Sengu. I'm here to make a video about Hawaiian Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. She's one of the presidential candidates running for president, because I'm realizing that actually a lot of people still don't know about her or have heard about her much. And she's about to go on a 2-week active duty tour in Indonesia as part of the Army National Guard. So she's gonna need all the help she can get from the people, from we the people, to get the word out. Okay, so I'm just gonna dive right into the top 3 reasons why I support Tulsi Gabbard. Number 1, her anti-regime change war stance, and that's totally principled. She's pointed out that over the past few decades, the United States has waged very counterproductive regime change wars, where the motivation is no longer defense and security of our nation, but it's actually for profits, for profiteering. And she points out recent examples: the war in Iraq, Libya, toppling Gaddafi, and now the intervention that's been going on in Syria. She comes from a place of real understanding of the war. She's been active military for 16 years now. She did 2 tours in the Middle East, deployed twice in the Middle East, first in Afghanistan in the medical unit, and the second time was in Iraq as part of the military police. 2 deployments a year long each, and she's seen firsthand the sacrifice, the toll on our brothers and sisters in uniform, and also the people of the countries where they're not better off than before. In fact, in Libya, for example, before, when it was under Gaddafi, at least the nation was actually relatively prosperous. They had no debt. They had a dividend from the oil, so people were actually not doing too bad, to be perfectly honest. But now in the post-Gaddafi Libya, you have open slave markets, people being sold in broad daylight. You know, modern day slavery is alive and well in Libya now, and also it's a haven for terrorist groups. So that's just one of many examples. And really the last, you could say, true war with good intentions that the U.S. participated in was the Korean War. But really every war after that has not led to a more peaceful, stable world. So she's very anti-regime change, and she's calling out the military-industrial complex, because like I said, it's become a profit-driven industry. You know, I used to work at Lockheed Martin, among other defense contractors, and if you take a look at who they donate to, one of the biggest donors to the Clinton Foundation was none other than Lockheed Martin. So it's no surprise that Hillary Clinton was a war hawk when she was running for president. And you also take a look at the genocidal war that the Saudis are waging on Yemen, and you take a look at the bombs that they're dropping on innocent women and children. Those bombs are made by none other than Lockheed Martin. So there's a certain culpability that our country has on these terrible, they're pretty much atrocities that are happening. And she's one of the rare few that are speaking up about it, brave enough to speak up about it. And because of that, you're seeing the smears and the attacks, interestingly, not so much from Republicans, but actually from fellow Democrats, Democratic candidates. So it's a shame, and it is what it is. This is what you're up against if you want to fight the big money that's flowing into government, that is cozy with government. This is what you're up against. So that's number 1. Number 2 reason, she's not bought and paid for. She takes $0 from PACs, political action committees. she's a completely grassroots funded by the people. Does not take a single dollar in PAC money or corporate money, and that's a big plus in my book. Shows a lot of integrity. Because let's be honest, these days our government is of, by, and for the rich and powerful, as opposed to the common people. So that's what she brings to the table. Number 3 is that, the fact that she was deployed, she's active military, that's a big plus in my book as well. She knows firsthand the cost of war, and is willing to put a stop to it. It's really mind-boggling and ironic to me that some of the mainstream media and other candidates try to smear her as either an Assad apologist or a Russian bot simply because she's met with Assad, when she's actually the only one who's active military, only female combat veteran. They have so basically she's served the country more than you have to those other candidates, yet you have the gall to call her loyalty into question. It's just ridiculous. It's really stupid. I don't know how it ever got traction. And let me just explain the whole Assad thing. So basically what she did was a fact-finding mission, which, if you're worth your weight in Congress, that's really your due diligence, right? As a congressperson, rather than blindly believe what the government tells you, you go find out for yourself what's really going on the ground. Because we've already been lied to once, right? The Iraq War, weapons of mass destruction. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So she went to Syria, was invited by Assad to meet. She accepted an invitation, but she actually met with both sides, Assad and the opposition. And I think that's really the way we got to go. Diplomacy should be number one option. Never war. And even sanctions, reserve that for more last resort situations. But you think about the great meetings in our history, right? Kennedy with Khrushchev, Reagan with Gorbachev, FDR with Stalin. There came times in history where you have to work with the other side to bring about the common goal of peace. And I think her visit with Assad is along the same veins as that. So I really commend her for that. And last, I'll just say that I got to meet her last week when she came to New York. And my thoughts after meeting her was that she has definitely this air of gravitas, this seriousness to be worthy of being president of this country. I didn't sense any phoniness, to be honest. Usually you can smell that right away when the other candidates speak, but from her it comes from a heart of really changing, just undoing all the corruption that's now in our system, right? Like basically big money runs everything. That's why you have the Boeing jet incident, because Boeing and the FAA are too cozy. That's why you have the FDA allowing addictive opioid drugs into the market, right? These are a couple minor examples, but that's the way the system works now, and it's got to change. Otherwise, our life expectancy will keep going down, as Andrew Yang pointed out. 3rd year in a row where life expectancy in the United States has gone down. And so she definitely has the gravitas and also the integrity, really standing up to her principles. One other example of her integrity is back in the previous election cycle, 2016, she was basically tapped and groomed to be the next chairwoman of the DNC, to become the darling of the DNC. But once she realized that actually they're trying to fix it to let Hillary win, meaning they were not impartial, they were partial to a particular candidate, that's when she resigned from the DNC and gave up all that fame and popularity, to do the right thing, to uphold her own values. So I really respect all that, and and I tend to lean right, especially regarding social issues. She tends to lean left as a Democrat, obviously, and votes pretty consistently left. But I don't get the feeling that she's ideological. I get the feeling that she's just doing what she believes is right and is willing to reach across the aisle to get things done. It's not so much the come up with unique ideas, but the willingness to work things out, talk things through, and come to common solutions. And just more than anything else, the expensive and counterproductive regime change wars. It's along the line also with Father Moon, Reverend Sun Myung Moon. When I met with Tulsi, I actually showed her an excerpt from Father Moon's speech that he gave in 2007, where he talked about the exact same thing, about how the United States has squandered astronomical sums of money, billions upon billions. At the time it was like 400 billion, 4 years after the start of the war in Iraq. But since then it's been in the trillions now. And instead that money could be used for peace building projects or infrastructure here at home. And then when she read that excerpt, she kind of nodded her head and said, "Amazing, that's wonderful." And I did not expect that reaction. It was a very positive reaction, so I felt like she really resonated with that message, and it kind of reaffirmed that she's on the right track. So that's all I gotta say. If you're a registered Democrat, please be open to a pollster calling you, and be sure to say that you're going to vote for Tulsi. And I hope she can make it to the next debates. Really want to see her along with Andrew Yang on my top two. Yang is really good domestic policy, Gabbard foreign policy. I think they'd be a great tandem. So we'll see in the months to come how it all unfolds. But thanks for hearing me out. This is Ten Sengu. God bless. I'll see y'all soon.